on to our now watching section. I'm going to go with you first because I'm going to guess you might not have watched that much because you've been on tour forever. But what have you been watching lately?
Honestly, no. In the last, in the last year. So we started touring. Actually, as of yesterday, we've been on tour for a year. About outside of just a few weeks of being home.
Jesus.
In between. So it has been very hard for me to keep up. We started watching as a band. We would just pop up in the computer, the laptops. As things drop on, Disney, we try to keep up on it. Obviously, like we watched Obi-Wan, and as it was coming out, we were trying to watch Obi-Wan every day.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was really cool. It was nice. We all get to watch it together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like usually it's just me here at home or something.
Right.
Like most of my bandmates are nerds too. So and especially like Jeff and Mike especially, but Mike is like, he is the fucking, I would actually love to suggest him to have you on your podcast because like he is the like most knowledgeable person I've ever met as far as Star Wars and just that whole world of nerdery. And but yeah, so I learn a lot from him watching with him that I would not know otherwise. You know what I mean? Just little things, like tiny things, like pan shots that have something in it that I would never notice. And he's just like, oh my God. So that was really cool to get to watch that with them. We started watching Love, Death, and Robots together. That was pretty good. I'm trying to think of what else I've really seen. I feel kind of bad that in the last months I don't really have anything crazy. I'm also a very big video game person.
Okay.
So I do most of the time when I'm home, I'm playing games more than watching stuff. But I did play. It's old now, but I played Jedi Fallen Order for the first time.
Yes.
Here, yeah, that was a probably my game of the year. Until I played Elden Ring, that was like my favorite game that I played in a long time. And then Elden Ring kind of took over my life, but I'm honestly more of a now playing than a now watching because
That's fine. Yeah,
it's super hard to find time to really sit and enjoy a series. But I have a couple months off at the end of this year, and that is my goal. I'm definitely catching up on a lot of stuff.
Hell yeah, Jedi Fallen Order is so dope. That game rocks. So we're getting soon next year.
The story is great, really compelling actually, and it's not just like point A, point B bullshit like a lot of them are. So that around the same time as I was watching The Mandalorian season 2, I started playing that, and I was like, "Damn, this is good." And they just announced a new one. Actually, they announced
it's coming out early next year. I think March.
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. I feel so bad. I actually
I think it's Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, Jedi Survivor. I love The Last Jedi, so
yeah, I actually do too. we're among that subsect of the world. It's it's one or the other. It's like religion and politics. It's like if you like The Last Jedi, it's the same thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever I meet a friend and they're the opposite, I'm like, we just won't talk about this because we know how this ends for both of us. And they're like, you're right, and I'm like, I'm glad we had that talk. Good.
Yeah.
As far as what I've been watching, I finished The Sandman, which is on Netflix. That series is fucking fantastic. It's if you're not familiar with The Sandman, I talked about it a little last week, but it's based on a comic by Neil Gaiman, but it's not very, if you think comic book and then going to watch this, it's definitely not what you would expect. It's basically like a fantasy series, and it's amazing. It's such a good series. Probably one of the best series I've seen in a while. It's very, very good. I would highly recommend it.
Heard of that. I feel
so good.
I have to check it out.
It's the hard thing with Netflix is that it was super talked about it the week it came out, and that's it, because that's what happens with Netflix. Because everything gets dropped at once, so people talk about it like that week. Because I didn't even watch it until it was out for like a few weeks, so I was behind the conversation on it completely. And but that's how Netflix is. They drop it.
It's like binge culture. When it's out, it's crazy too. I'm always curious how people like immediately find the time. You know what I mean? It's like everything that drops on Netflix and most of the stuff on Hulu too. It's instant, and then it's like you said, it's a couple weeks and then it's gone.
Yep.
Until the next,
which is a bummer. I hope it gets renewed for a season 2 because it's so fucking good. But we'll see. I am hoping it gets renewed for a season 2 because it's really, really good. Then I saw The Rehearsal on HBO, and this show is the most indescribable show I've ever watched in my entire life. I don't know if you're familiar with Nathan Fielder, the guy who did Nathan for You.
Sure, I saw you talking about it. I don't know if you posted about it or something, but I swear I saw you talking about it.
I posted on my Facebook on my Facebook like actual Facebook profile.
That's what it was. Yeah, you were like, "This
Yeah.
is the most indescribable show," and I actually has made me want to watch it.
It is so insane. I can understand why some people don't like it because it is so awkward and like mind-blowingly weird. Because Nathan Fielder is probably the most awkward human being on the face of the planet, but I think he might be one of the smartest human beings on the planet. Because the basic premise, and shout out to John Diener, who talked about it in our now watching section with him, that made me actually sit down and like, okay, I'm going to watch it. And he basically takes, like, he puts out these weird, vague Craigslist ads. People reply to them, and he takes them, and they have like a simple, mundane problem they have to solve. And then he runs a rehearsal with them. So like basically the first episode is this guy who's been lying about his he said he has a master's degree, but really he only has a bachelor's degree, and he's in this trivia group that he goes to bar trivia, and they do trivia with this group, and for some reason he lied about having a master's degree because he wanted to fit in with everyone. So it's been like years, and now he wants to confess that he only has a bachelor's degree because it's been eating at him for years. So this dude takes the bar that they go to, completely recreates it in a warehouse, hires actors that are like it, like actors that meet that he finds way to have them meet with the real people that act like the actual person to plot out every scenario so you're prepared for this interaction. It is so insane, dude. It is crazy.
I've heard when the tour that we're on, I heard people talking about it actually, like right when we started the tour, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's a new Nathan Fielder show," and I haven't had the chance to catch it yet, but I'm definitely going to. Nathan for You obviously is like a cult. Like it's funny how bands, especially we notice band dudes are like this very specific niche of people where everyone knows and loves the same shit, and it's like all the one-liners from shows like I Think You Should Leave and Eric Show, and like Tim and Eric, all the shit like we grew up on, like Metalocalypse, shit like that. It's like you can say a line from the show that like if you go to a fucking grocery store, everyone's gonna look at you like you're absolutely insane. But 50 band dudes on a tour will know exactly what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's definitely up that alley of humor. Like everything you listed. Yeah.
Need to catch that for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been continually watching Welcome to Wrexham. It's the new docuseries on Hulu. It drops 2 episodes each week. It's Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, who bought a football club over in Europe, and them running it. It's actually really heartfelt. It shows a lot about the town, like people involved with the team directly, and then people from the town indirectly and stuff. And it's a really cool thing to see 2 people who are so famous care so much about like bringing good to this town and doing well by this team and stuff. It's really cool. I know it's gotten a lot of comparisons to Ted Lasso, but I compared it to like a real life Ted Lasso. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I don't give a fuck about football or many sports in general, and I love this show. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't be worried about it.
Those are 2 people that I really enjoy as people. Yeah, just from their social media presence and stuff. So
then you would love it because they're in full force in it. It's so great. I want to be friends with Ryan Reynolds so bad.
Yeah. My favorite thing like on the internet is like memes that are like my boyfriend says he's straight, but are you straight? And then you see Ryan Reynolds and it's like no.
Fair. That's very fair. Yeah. And then last weekend I watched 2 horror movies, trying to get in the spirit of fall in October. So, and I think people are going to be very surprised about which one I liked and which one I didn't like. So I watched Tusk, the Kevin Smith horror movie.
I fucking love Tusk.
I will come back. And then I watched It Follows, which is kind of like everyone loves that movie. So I liked Tusk, didn't like It Follows. Tusk was fucking insane, dude.
I know. I didn't like It Follows. Like when I was a kid, I went to see it when I was in like high school with some of my friends, and I was like, I did not like it. The Tusk I love because it's like it's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny, and it's also like it's not even a horror. It's just like
it's just unnerving.
Exactly. Yeah, it's unnerving. Yeah.
The only qualm I had with Tusk is that because in the beginning it's kind of funny. It's like very Kevin Smith dialogue, super quick quippy and like funny, but then it gets super serious. As soon as he gets like knocked out, I don't want to give anything away, but most people know what happened in Tusk. But as soon as he gets knocked out, the tone shifts drastically and it gets like really like unnerving and uneasy. But then when Johnny Depp's character comes in, he's like so goofy. It felt off in that moment for me. And that was the only part I didn't really like was his character because it felt so weird with the rest of the movie. But that's the only qualm I had. I really, really like Tusk. And I know people like I posted on my Instagram stories that people are either like, fuck this movie or I love this movie. There's no in between.
My fiance and her friends, every time if I bring up the word Tusk, they're like, no, because it just makes them so uncomfortable. But there's something about it. I think it was maybe 2018, and we were on tour then, and we were staying with Joe Bad from Fit for an Autopsy, his house in New York, his apartment, and we just got ignorantly blazed. It's like 4 a.m, and somehow that's what ended up on TV. So it's like we were just laughing about it constantly because we're just idiots and we're stoned and we've been awake for like probably way too long. So there's like I don't want to give anything away either, but there's like one shot near the end where he's sitting there at post transformation and he throws a fish at him or some shit and the camera turns and it's just like a zoom in on his face, and I have never laughed that hard in my life. Like I was just like, yo, like they chose that shot for this movie, like knowing full well that it's gonna be like you can't look at that and be like, that's not hilarious. Like if you're in the it depends on how you look at it. You know what I mean? It's like it could be terrifying zoom, but like at the time we just all started crying laughing. And since then, that's one of my favorite, honestly, one of my favorite movies. Because of that, because it's all about the context that you take. You know what I mean? Like it can be hilarious or it can be creepy and unsettling. But yeah, I show that scene to anybody who hasn't seen it. I'm like, you have to watch it. Nothing else. You will find pleasure in this part.
Yes, and they're making a sequel. Kevin Smith confirmed they're doing a sequel.
Oh my God, really? I didn't.
Yeah.
So
I can't fucking wait. I can't wait. Wow. Yeah, I can't wait to see what he does with that. But It Follows, I just found not like it's like a bad movie. It was just really boring.
Yeah.
Like, nothing happens in that movie. There's some parts that I'm like, oh, shit's about to get crazy. You know, like every time you see like the creepy stuff that like the It Follows part, I was like, yo, shit's about to get wild. And then that scene happens and then it just ends. And I'm like, okay, why do people love this movie so much? I don't know. Which is crazy. I'm usually the most like positive dude about movies. But I am very honest when I have criticisms or there's something I just don't like. But I just watched it and I was like, did I miss something? Because everyone loves this movie. Like everyone always talks about how amazing it is. And it was just on Netflix. So I was like, whatever, I'll pop it on. And I was just like, okay. I was like, I don't know.
It's like I've seen memes that are like, what would you do? Like, would you take $1 billion if a snail was following you forever trying to kill you? Like, nothing can stop it. I'm like, it's literally that's the whole plot of this movie, pretty much. But
pretty much.
But yeah, that's one that never really got me, honestly.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of silly. It just around that time too when it came out, I was looking for the most like I don't know. I guess I was like an edgy like teenager, kind of coming into about to graduate, and I was just looking for the most like fucked up movies. Like I really liked really gory stuff back then because I was into like super. I don't know. That was when I was like finding real extreme death metal and deathcore, and I'm like just trying to find the most ignorant stuff. And I'm like, this is like I didn't understand like suspenseful, thriller at the time. So honestly, I haven't seen it since then. I might enjoy it more now, but back then I was like, dude, I don't know.
I love suspenseful stuff, and there is no suspense in that movie, like at all.
Very exciting.
Like I love suspenseful, especially like thrillers. Like I can really get down with a good thriller, but there was nothing thrilling about that to me, at least. I was just like, it like has points where you're like, it's gonna get there, and then it just ends, and you're like, okay, okay. But
there's a lot of that. Honestly, there's I feel like that happens so much in horror now that I've kind of fallen out of love with that genre of movie. Like most of the time now when I watch movies, it's either Well, really, it's either Marvel or comedy. You know what I mean? Like genuine comedy. I haven't found like a really good horror movie in quite a while.